Another tough one for our guys. 3-point loss up in Syracuse. Left a lot of plays out there, and really went through the facts last night with our guys, really of what we did and really what we didn't do to win that football game. But they're scoring touchdowns. We're kicking field goals, 3 of them. You turn one of those field goals. I just tried to do some math with them last night. You turn one of those field goals, when you get down in the red zone into a touchdown, what do we win by? It's like you win. They got the point total correct too. Smart guys at Pitt, but there's a lot of little things that we just don't do out on the field to make those plays. And you can't against anybody in the ACC. And Syracuse, continues to get better, and they're a good football team. And it was a great game for sure for the fans to watch. Much better than last year, I might add, as far as just watching a game and it being competitive and more of a defensive game, I guess, than an offensive game. Lots of 3-and-outs in the first half for both defenses. So, but there's a lot of things that we need to do offensively, defensively to get a lot better. For example, just they make some great catches. They got a couple of phenomenal catches, and we got opportunities to make the same ones, and we don't make them. And what's the problem there? We just got to make plays, and it's really what it comes down to. When you have opportunities, you have to make them. So we got to attack the ball and high point it, and the same thing on defense. I think we started off with a bang, and then 98 plays later, we're a little tired. Jordan Whitehead, probably gave him too many reps for any of you guys want to start them both ways. When you take 80 snaps on defense and 8 or 9 on offense, and special teams as well, as you're the personal protector on the punt team, he's got too many, and you don't see it because he keeps going, and he's never saying, "Coach, I need a blow." He just keeps going. But when you start missing tackles, then it affects everybody, and those are some of the things that we got to make sure we don't continue to do, and that's on coaches and players. So, but we play a fantastic North Carolina State team, a team that as a voting member of the USA Today, I've been voting for them since week 1. Jerry, I can show you my results from week 1, but I've voted for them all along because I watch what they've done during the summer on tape. They're a physical football team. They're a veteran football team. They got, I think, 18 returning starters, 8 on defense and 10 on offense. Their entire line is back from a year ago. And anytime you have that consistency and guys that have played around, Dave, Coach Doran's going into his, I think 5th season here. The program is very, very stable at this point, and that's what happens when you give a coach, that did the same thing I knew Dave back when he was at Northern Illinois. When you give a guy, that much time to do his deal, and my hats go off to those folks there for hanging in, and they've got a good football team, from skill all the way to the line. So on both sides of the ball, it starts up front with those guys. Chubb, Street, Hill, Jones, across the front. They got one of the best D lines you'll see in the country. I saw that last year. I saw that. They were good. Questions?
Kind of what's the situation at quarterback for you guys going into this week?
Keep practicing. Our teams continue to grow in a lot of different spots, and it'll have to grow faster there. I feel bad for Max. We're still evaluating, his body, so that's still an evaluation. But Ben DiNucci's the guy, and I've had a meeting with Ben this morning about preparation and putting as much into it as he possibly can. And Ben's got a ton of ability. We've talked about that. Needs to relax in the pocket and identify who he's supposed to read and throw the ball and manage the run game properly so everything clicks. So we've got faith in Ben, and Kenny Pickett will be his backup. And I don't know if I mentioned in a staff meeting or to our team or to my wife, we got a lot of confidence in Kenny Pickett as well. That's why I had no, when Max went down, you can't hesitate. You got to know what your next move is. And Thomas McVitie again is another exceptional athlete, but Kenny Pickett's just a little bit further ahead of him mentally. Thomas played receiver for a long time in high school and doesn't have a lot of reps there, but is a talented kid. So we still have faith in him as well. But Kenny's probably mentally prepared as any freshman quarterback in the country, I think. He's way ahead of where DiNucci was when he was a freshman mentally. So he's a guy that we had confidence in, and from the beginning. he pays attention to the details as well. So he'll be our backup, and we'll progress that way.
I mean, the decision, is there a scenario where he could even have a package or two?
Who's that?
Pitt.
Well, he'll have a lot of packages, like the entire package. He's smart enough to know the whole package.
No, I mean, some you're going to try to get him playing time. The reason I ask is you look at it to burn him for one snap. In a play where you would need something miraculous to happen to win, no matter how strong a kid's arm is. Seems.
Yeah.
So I assume there's a long game here you're trying to play, not just like.
It's a long game. It's a developmental game, and it's a guy that's ready. We'd like to play him. Put it that way. We don't want to play for one play and then burn a red shirt. But I've seen guys think red shirts are burned, and to me, when you talk red shirting, it's about when your opportunity arises. And there's nobody turns down that. There was a receiver a long time ago at the University of Rhode Island, had to play in the last game of the season against Hofstra, I believe it was. He hadn't played all year. We had the Delaware game the week before, had a bunch of guys get hurt. The kid's name was Ricketts, I believe, and burned his red shirt year. That year played one game, last game of the season, caught 7 balls. Then next year, those other receivers that got hurt in that game weren't hurt. Okay, and he ended up redshirting the second year. Okay, didn't play down. That's what it was. So you never know. When your time is called, you got to play. Kenny's a team guy. I've talked to his dad. He understands the process. He understands. He's understood that sitting in that room. You're one snap away from being a backup. When you're, and that's in every position. That happens. Quarterback is not a position you're trying to rotate and get guys serious. We got to get Ben in the rotation and, get Ben in the flow of the game and let him go.
When you talked to Ben this morning in that meeting, you tell him to approach this week any differently? He says he's been approaching every week the same, but obviously it's not the same when Max is definitely not going to play.
Yeah, but told him to take it, better than he has. I think you can always get better. I think everybody can get better. I can spend more time in the office. I can spend the night again. Everybody can give you more, okay? And I just told him, hey, listen, we need more. What you've done so far, is okay, but you need more. And it's the same thing for everybody. Everybody needs to give more. When someone goes down, it's the next man up, and he's got more. Okay, I might take his phone away from him. Let him not. Does he tweet, Jerry?
Yes.
I take that away.
He has a Twitter account. Not much.
He does. Not much. That's good. So whatever I got to do, I'll take something away from him. Maybe take his video games.
Did you have a chance to look back at the play that Max got hurt on and see what happened there?
Yeah. It was a real wide end, and coming ooff the field side, and Matt Flanagan's coming across the line of scrimmage or coming across the formation to block him, and him and Quadri was and they brought a blitz at the same time from the field. A backer was coming, and if it was just a DN, they both would have blocked him, but Quadri kind of got just a little bit in Flanagan's way, and they couldn't pick him off the edge. It was I don't know if I'd say nice job by them. They did it by accident, but. Just didn't, Flanagan couldn't get over tight enough, so unfortunately.
Yeah, over the previous 2 years, you haven't really had to discipline that many people. But now it's 6 guys in the past 5 months. When something like that happens, are you fearful maybe that the message isn't getting across to some guys?
Everybody's different. The message is getting communicated, I can tell you that. And like I said, in the past, Jerry, we will be a disciplined football team. We're going to do little things right, and from tucking our shirts in on trips. We're going to do the little things right, and I think again, as soon as you let some of those things go, and obviously this was not a tucking your shirt in problem, but those are how small the details are that we're working on and developing. And I think when you're a young football team and you don't have a lot of seniors sitting in that front row that have command of the room. Like we did a year ago, that there's always going to be those issues, and and it's the age these kids are growing up in nowadays. It's you look around at some of the bigger things happening in the world, and and they just trickle down into smaller things here. You look at Las Vegas. Who would ever thought that had happened 15 years ago? There's little things that our kids are growing up in worlds that we didn't have to, and we just got to stay on the little things, details. And again, if you aren't detailed off the field, you won't be detailed on the field, and that's the emphasis we're trying to make.
Do you address things with the team when this kind of stuff happens?
Yeah, no question about it. gets addressed really quickly.
Stern, I would assume.
Yeah.
You saw Dave Doran's defense was pretty up close when he was in Wisconsin. What always kind of stood out to you about what they did schematically?
Well, I mean, Dave Huxtable's the defense coordinator, and I think you guys have some history with him. But he's a great, very detailed. Got a great plan. Just playing sound football. I mean, they're not complicated when you look at them, but they have a system and they run the system and they fit their players into their system and they've got some cats up front that are really good that make everybody else around them really good.
How much better does your offensive line have to play in this game compared to what they've been doing the last couple of weeks?
They got to play. They got to play like they did against Penn State. We got to be able to rush the football. So we've done that in the past, and they got to play good. But quarterback's got to play good. Running back's got to play better. Receivers got to make blocks and catch the ball. I mean, it's 11 guys. It ain't just the offensive line. I think that's evident when you watch Jordan Whitehead run. I mean, I think if you interviewed an offensive lineman, hey, are you block any different when Jordan Whitehead's in there? And they'd probably tell you no. I don't think they get in the huddle and say, oh, number 9's in here. Let's block for this guy today. There's some blocking going on. It can be better always, but our run game's got to get better too.
Were you hoping to settle on 5 guys on the O-line in that Syracuse game and it didn't happen?
No, I wasn't. Again, we're rotating guys around, still trying to find out who they are and giving them opportunities. I mean, the only way you get better is to have opportunities to play. And if there was 5 beasts up there, then we keep the 5 beasts, and you can tell the guys that haven't, been out of the 2 deep or been out of the starting lineup. So we're looking for the 5 consistent guys, and if it's all average, then keep them fresh and see what give them an opportunity to go play.
How close do you, when you talk about trying to find the right combination on the O-line, how close do you feel like you guys are to finding some pass solution to it?
Well, when we rushed for 300 yards this weekend, if we rushed for 300 yards, I think we'd find how close are we? We're probably not going to know till next spring. I mean, think about it. I mean, it's just it is what it is right now. I mean, we're not going to go off the free agent wire and see if we can pick some guys up. We just got to keep coaching them, and the great thing about our kids is they care. They got a great care factor. They want to get better, and they sit in here with their eyes up and they want to get better. That's the important thing, and they're having opportunities to play and prove that they are the guy. Whether it's Brandon Hodges and Jared Jones-Smith and Mike Herndon, I mean, Dantino, they were all having opportunities to go out there and put their pads on somebody.
Is any combination there standing out to you, especially on the right side?
I don't know. Maybe. He tried.
Yeah, when you look at NC State, they sort of, what Dave's done there, it's his 5th year now. I mean, they've taken that step and they went from, not great the first year, 85, 7-6, 7-6, now they're 5-1. Is that a model that for a program like you guys are trying to, you talk about take it, is that something, in the way that they're playing, is that a model that you kind of want to follow?
I mean, I think anybody in the country wants to. I mean, consistency and getting your guys in place, and every place is different. I mean, every situation is a little bit different that you walk into. I think here we walked into pretty good situations, some pretty good players. Paul did a good job recruiting, but they were older guys that had played a lot of football, and I think time is the tell there, and I think some people lose patience. They have it down there, and Davis, has run his course. He believed in what he's doing, and he's done a nice job. And they got a great pool of kids around their area, and obviously it comes down to recruiting and getting the right players in that program. They've done a great job.
That nickel defense, is that something that, seeing what it was able to accomplish, especially in the first half, is that encouraging for you as a coach that you can deploy that, in the future when you see these 4 or 5 wide receiver teams?
The what defense you said?
When you use 3 corners,
right?
And you don't usually do that as your base, but you guys use it quite a bit against Syracuse.
Yeah. It's encouraging, but we knew we'd had that. Use it when you need to, or you feel like you have to, or the run game is not what it is. I mean, they didn't really start running the ball till the second half. And if they just want to throw it every down, then you kind of build it off of that. And we had base in there as well, so you just do what they're doing.
When you were one running back down, Saturday, I thought maybe Davis was playing a little bit. Is that the 1 carry?
He had the 1 carry, and you want to get him in there. He has 1 carry, and he's supposed to break it outside. He cuts it back inside. He's still a young guy that I want to get him more carries. And I told him before the game, we want to get you more carries. And then, I'm not subbing guys in. I'm not the sub coach on offense, but they got to go with who they feel, understand what they're doing. They know what the game plan is offensively. But we'd like to get him more carries. I want to see the guy go and see if he can be a difference maker for us. But I wish he'd get more reps. I really do.
Is practice going to be any different for Jordan, routine-wise?
Probably not, no. He's a smart guy. Plays both ways every week.
Were there any plays that he was in that you guys didn't give to him Saturday?
I think one. No, I think we gave it to him every time. Yeah. And they probably knew that too.
How did you find that balance, Pat, for not using him too much on offense?
You know, I'm overbalanced right now. I mean, you don't want to use them like you're using them. You're going to wear them out, and I don't want to wear the kid out. He's a great kid that's, that wants to go. And he comes in my office yesterday all smiling, and I said, hey, just keep going. We'll do what we need to do. But he's a super kid that is all in.
And you're halfway through now. If you look at it, you guys got a streak of reaching or having a postseason game the last 9 years. Do you try to not block out any big picture stuff when you've got a tough schedule the rest of the way? You got three.
One at a time. One at a time. I mean, if we start looking ahead, we're going to be in big trouble. We're not smart enough. We're not mature enough to ever look ahead. We got to focus on North Carolina State. We got a great football team coming in on homecoming weekend, and it'll be a great challenge for this football team. Top 20 team coming in Heinz Field.
Do you have to sort of revisit or look at the amount of jet sweeps and shovel passes, or the way that you use them? Just they weren't all that effective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, with the way they're playing it, I mean, we should have more effect inside. I mean, it's all based on how they're structured defensively, and we're not getting it out to Quadri. And even when he does get out there, we're getting one arm tackle put on the ground. So we got to make something happen when we do get the ball in our hands, and that loosens some other things up. But we look at that every week.
With your alternate games, kind of struggling right now. That way, when you look back at the film from these past few games,
it looked pretty good when number 9 was in there, didn't it?
Sorry?
Didn't struggle when number 9 was in there, did it?
No. Although I guess that could be seen by some as kind of a bad sign when your old's best back is passing kind of games to the head of the safety. But when you look back at the film, I guess what to you has been at the source of it. Is it kind of more on the backs, maybe not finding holes and exploit them? Is the line that gives them opportunities to really?
I think it's a little bit. It's a great question, and I think I answer it every week. It's a little of everything. It's a little bit of the backs. Sometimes it's the quarterback making the right check, depending on the game and who made that call. And Max has been really good at that. And then sometimes it's the offense line. It only takes one. When you put them all in the box and you're in a 2 tight end set and one guy misses a block, it can look like an ugly play, but 4 other guys really blocked well. But if you miss one block, then it all goes downhill. And it doesn't matter. It makes them all look bad. And it's why you count on that guy next to you, whether it's a center, a guard, or a tackle that's next to you, to do his job and focus on that. Keep your head up and use your hands and don't block with your flippers and your arms. And that's what it comes down to. But if you miss one block, it could be fatal. And that's been the problem. So it's not one thing you can point it at. It ain't just the running backs. It's not just the offensive line. It's a combination, and that's why they call it a team game. If we played football with one guy out there, it was one-on-one, it would be pretty easy to say who didn't get it done. But it's one play this guy's good, one play it's not.
Anything final for Coach?
Is Theron sort of in the league for that third cornerback spot now, after how much he played Saturday?
He is. His stock has risen. I told him it was going to be important. He's getting an opportunity. He won that position. That wasn't here you go, Theron, go be the guy. He won it in a competition like we do every week. We try to compete. We're going to compete at quarterback this week. Kenny's going to compete. He's going to try to look better. We're going to compete at every position like we do every week and find out who's going. But Theron competed and won that spot and did a nice job at it. So he was physical. He tackled well. He was out there. It was your fear. I yelled at him on Thursday because he did a couple of those, whiz tackles where he pretended like he tackled the guy, but he didn't. I was like, dude, you're too young to do that. Don't be doing that on Thursday practice. Thud him up. And, that's your fears. Your guy goes out there and, doesn't thud it up. But Theron did a nice job. It was good. So, we still got our 2 starting corners, so it's hard, and we'll do some nickel this weekend as well. So he'll have opportunities.
What does he say do offensively?
They are a big zone team. Their offensive line is big, physical. You guys asking real football questions. I like it. Thanks, Lance. They're a big offensive line physically. They run a lot of outside zone. They got some RPOs involved as well. Finley's a very smart quarterback. I don't think he's thrown a pick this year. He manages the game well. He's a transfer from Boise. He does a great job at just managing the game. He doesn't try to do too much. He's obviously very intelligent. I don't know what his GPA is, but based on watching him and what he does, how he manages the game, you can tell he's probably a 4.0 guy that pays attention to the details. He's probably in the film room right now trying to dissect our defense and figure out what he can do and how he can do it and what tells him this, what tells him that. That's what he does, and you can see it on tape.
What challenges Samuels? I mean, they use him just in a bunch of different ways.
He's all over the place. I mean, he's their H-back that will play fullback, play wide receiver, throwing bubbles. He'll get 12 carries a game probably. He's a guy that's that they utilize. He's a good football player.
Coach, what can you say about Chessman and his improvements since the beginning of the year? He missed 2.
He actually hasn't gotten any better. He's been the same guy. The uprights just move every once in a while and they go through, but. I almost called the punt team out for that 56-yarder when I saw, their kick returner go back there. I'm like, oh my gosh, our O-line better cover here. When you got a punt returner, kick returner back there, that's a 100-meter guy standing, at the end line, and you line up for a 56-yard field goal, and then you got to go tackle. It's not like your punt team's out there, or your kickoff team. It's our field goal team. You got, a lot of beef out there that, you really don't even have to block them to make a miss. So it was a little scary. I had the punt team called up just in case. I changed my mind at the last second. I'm glad I didn't. But that thing would have been good from 56.5 yards, probably. I think, golly.
You can run down one of those guys, maybe.
One guy. That field's pretty wide.
You mentioned Pickett's mental acumen. Give an example, maybe, of some things he's picking up in the film room or the field.
He's just a detailed guy. I mean, he's a very detailed student of the game, is what he is. He's obviously been well coached in high school. I think it starts there. I mean, you don't develop overnight at quarterback, and he's developed while he's here, and Coach Watson enjoys him in the meeting room because he can answer a lot of questions that he understands the game.